Barcelona new star, Chutian's legendary rise begins. Episode 41. The lagging Barca began to be a little impatient. Rakitic is constantly looking for offensive opportunities. His own offensive abilities are comprehensive. The front court was very cooperative with him, but Iniesta and his cooperation were always missing something. It's like a transmission is missing the most important engine. Between two people, like a couple in an arranged marriage, they can't think of going together. Sevilla put up an iron barrel formation and stuck to the front of the big penalty area. Barca's midfielder still hasn't delivered a single threatening shot. The only person who can threaten the opponent's penalty area several times is Messi. The game unknowingly came to the 35th minute. Barca still have 80% of the ball. The score is still 1 goal behind. The red and blue jerseys besieged the pure white jersey penalty area. Iniesta held the ball and directly began to dribble through. Sevilla's left midfielder and back rushed forward to press forward. Iniesta flicked the ball to the right with her left foot. The body begins to shake. The right foot then buckles the ball to the left, just past the two of them. Croquettes, fast and smooth, flowing action. Iniesta's iconic pass. The fans couldn't help but burst into warm applause. This is amazing. It is so comfortable to see. It's not over yet. Iniesta observed Rakitic's location in an instant. Nei Xiao and Suya took advantage of the run and had already taken away the opposing defensive players. There is a gap. Xiao directly pushed the ball sideways. The Barca players are holding their breath. Iniesta's pass is in a good location. The threat is great. Chance to equalize. The Sevilla players tensed up. Danger. The moment Rakitic receives the ball, he saw Messi suddenly thrusting forward. Messi's location is excellent. As long as he passes the ball to the Mayball King, the King of Plums is directly facing the goalkeeper. But, at this moment, a strange idea came to Rakitic's mind. I'm going to come by myself. No one is watching me. I can break the door myself. Long range. Between the electric light and flint, the unguarded Rakitic made the decision. Slightly assisted. Swing your right leg. Body tilt. The instep of the foot is pumped on the soccer ball. Bang. Shoot hard at long range. Football is like a cannonball. Blast into the Sevilla goal. The ball speed is extremely fast. Great power. The audience held their breath. Even in the fantasy, this ball has been scored. But, Sevilla goalkeeper Beto is not a vegetarian. He is also the national goalkeeper of the Grapevine national team. Beto had already anticipated this long-range line. Rakitic and I have been teammates for 3 years, and his long-range shooting habits, I don't know yet. He took off. Body stretch. Keep the soccer ball out of bounds with both hands. Beto got up excitedly, punched his chest hard, and roared at the Barca players. There was an uproar. Then there was a loud applause. God save. Sevilla goalkeeper Beto's save can definitely be counted as a wonderful shot of this tournament. Rakitic angrily pounded into the turf. His feelings are mixed. If he passes the ball to Messi. No. I was right to shoot from a distance myself, and no one was watching me. He has always prided himself on his long-range shooting ability. While playing at Sevilla, Emery gave him full-range firing power. But Sevilla's players know too well about the midfielder's old midfielder who has moved to Barca. Iniesta spread out his hands. The first half was almost over. Barca are still behind. This precious equalizing opportunity was also not seized. Rakitic played aggressively and wanted to help Barca equalize with a long-range shot, which was of high quality. Unfortunately, I didn't score. CTV5 live broadcast room, Duan Xian said. Tao Wei shook his head. Rakitic that position. Although no one is watching, no one interferes, but the angle is very small. Long-range shooting is not a wise choice. Sevilla goalkeeper Beto, even without too much consideration, dragged the ball out. The barrage of the fans began to flutter. Groove. Door God. Rakitic, why not pass the ball to Messi? Messi is out of position. A single pass can pass the ball over the top to Messi. Messi location is good. You can break the door directly. Good, this long-range shot looks beautiful, but there is no egg use. Unfortunately Messi ran so well. Pity little white fried croquettes. After two people, push the ball out. It's hard for me to see this Barca. The first half is almost over. Just such a good opportunity. It was also wasted by Rakitic. Although the long-range shot breaks the bus, but the probability of this game is not very good. Rakitic is not undercover. He transferred to Barcelona from Sevilla, and the Sevilla goalkeeper knows his habits too. On the pitch, the referee motioned for Barca's corner kick. Messi shook his head helplessly. Meicho Wang has a good character and never blames his teammates. What he was thinking at this point was, this corner, how should be sent? If you go to the ground to cooperate, you may return to the scene of controlling the ball for the sake of possession. Then this corner kick is meaningless. Meicho Wang held the football and stood in the corner flag area. Episode 42. Courtside. Barca boss Enrique frowned. The first half is coming to an end if Barca are too late to equalize. The second half will be more passive. But right now, Barca has no way to break the door. Enrique had a lot of thoughts in his mind, and even thought whether to change the lineup 4-4-2 and let Messi play in midfield. The other side, the Sevilla coach was so excited that he shouted at the players, defend. Brace oneself. Watch Messi's corner, stands. Barca fans are also worried. Barca have been unable to open the situation. The Sevilla players are in a good mood and getting better and better. Messi put the ball on the corner flag zone line. He glanced at the towering head in the penalty area. Due to Barca falling behind, even Busquets and Pique ran up, trying to compete for the top header. Sevilla retreated across the board. 10 people were all crowded in the forbidden area. Only single striker Gameiro was talking trash with Mascherano in the center circle. Messi took 2 steps back. Run up. The last kick was drawn in the lower middle of the football. The ball spins at high speed, bringing up a wonderful arc and falling into the penalty area. Messi passed the ball perfectly. Barca players, as long as they don't go over the top, you can score goals. The ball landed at the back of the penalty area. Pique. What a chance. Pique, the tall Barca defender. Jump high, shake your head, top to the football. Unfortunately, under the interference of the 2 players of Sevilla, Pique didn't top straight. The ball bounced diagonally on the ground, easily held by Sevilla goalkeeper Beto. Moment. Sevilla's players are frantically rushing forward. Fight back. After Barca corner defeat, Seville has no hesitation. The horn of counterattack was sounded on the spot. Beto threw the ball directly with one hand. Football flies to the midfield. The Barca players are desperately trying to rush back. It's too late. Busquets and Pique both just battled for the top of the box. Barca's backline. At this point, Mascherano is left alone. Barca's little Margot is alone, facing the rushing Seville Wolves. Dangerous. There is now only one man in Barca's backcourt and Sevilla's players are rushing up. Sevilla striker, Gameiro, standing in the center circle, put the ball firmly to a stop. Gameiro was thrilled. It was a 1-mile ride. What a one-handed opportunity. Soon, this illusion is shattered. Mascherano didn't hesitate much, a frontal sliding shovel that destroyed the opponent's possession and kicked the ball away. Subsequently, get up immediately and start running towards your own restricted area. He has done the limits of what he can do, destroyed the single knife with the most decisive speed, but he must not lose his position and chase forward. The Wolf of Seville. Not just one. He wants to return to the penalty area and help Ter Stegen to defuse Sevilla's next defensive storm, until you drag it back to your teammates. Barca not only has the art of transmission, but also the indomitable team soul. Mascherano was experienced. He defused Gameiro's single knife. But there was no way to stop the ball, and the ball came to Banega's feet. Dangerous, the heart of Sevilla's midfield, Banega, run all the way with the ball. The ball was carried to the Barca penalty area. He has teammates on his left and right, and Barca's defensive players are still behind. Sevilla up front 4-for-2. There are only defender Mascherano and goalkeeper Ter Stegen on the Barca side. Will there be a miracle? The narrator, Xavi's voice, couldn't help but get nervous. Sevilla's players are also not bad at foot. Banega split the ball on the side. Little Magu had no choice. He was alone, in the space of the forbidden area, unable to stare at 4 people. Goalkeeper Ter Stegen waited, but there is no way. 2 people can't prevent 4 people. The football went through 2 passes, came to the feet of Gameiro. He stood in front of the door and nudged the ball forward. 0-2. Sevilla leads again. The audience was silent. The fans felt a deep sense of loss. No one could have imagined that in the first half, Barca were 2 goals behind. The last time I fell behind 0-2 at halftime, it was many years ago. The Sevilla players began to celebrate wildly. They rushed to the fan stands, roaring and shouting, "Put up your index and middle fingers," meaning, 2 balls. We were 2 goals ahead of Barca. Barca this side. Messi stood in the middle circle, shaking his head helplessly. Rakitic's mood grew more and more impatient. Goalkeeper Ter Stegen, his eyes were slightly red. The little lion was very remorseful. He took the main responsibility for the 2 goals conceded on himself. CTV5 Live Room. Commentator Xavi couldn't help but sigh. Barca has really changed. I have been in the industry for so many years. I have explained so many games, even against Real Madrid Bayern. I have never seen Barca fall behind 0-2 at halftime, which is unique. Taoué said, art transmission control football, with the departure of Xavi, is also gradually disappearing in this world. Barca will experience change, will experience pain, because there will be no second Xavi in the world. After that, it is the era of utilitarian football. What Barca is playing, it will pass the ball, pass it around, and it can't pass to Messi's feet. The only good chances were created by Messi. Hey, don't look mad. The more you look at it, the more angry you get. You will pass the ball for the sake of passing. What's the use of this Rakitic? Sevilla are really not weak. Defender Margot and goalkeeper Leo Jr. have tried their best. The second goal is conceded. The responsibility is not on them. Episode 43. The mid-game is over. Take a 15-minute break. Both players and coaches return to their respective dressing rooms. Barca stars frown. Messi didn't say a word. The whole dressing room was silent. Chutian sat in the corner. This tense atmosphere, not a new player's turn to speak. He trailed by 2 goals at halftime. Both balls were due to the opposing side's counterattack. It's a little hard for everyone to accept. Manager Enrique's voice broke the silence. Everyone cheer up. We still have the second half. facing the Iron Barrel array, we have to play infiltration, mobilization. In the Champions League, even Mourinho's heavy truck formation, we can break it. Have faith in yourself. Iniesta shook her head and said helplessly. After taking the lead on the other side, they all gathered in the penalty area. We had no way to infiltrate with short passes, let alone move long passes. And their defense was very good. Hear that? The stars agreed, we can't let Barca play a long pass. They began to miss Xavi. Last season, before Xavi retired, they slaughtered Sevilla 5-1. They miss Xavi's pass, that was enough to tear everything apart. With Xavi around, everything would have been very simple. 15 minutes passed quickly. The referee blew the whistle for the start of the second half. Sevilla serves. Gameiro passed the ball back to Banega and then began to retreat while reversing his feet. Messi quickly intercepted the ball, but the Sevilla player pretended to be in pain and fell to the ground. The referee blew the whistle. Messi spread his hands and said, "I didn't even touch him. How did he fall? Messi fouled?" No, from the slow-motion replay, Messi didn't touch the Sevilla player at all. He seems to be cramping. No, he just changed the field. How can he cramp? The narrator's subtext is clear. Sevilla is trying to delay the game. 2 minutes later, the stretcher team ran onto the pitch. The Sevilla player got up and signaled that he was okay. And so it goes. Not only did it interrupt the rhythm of the game, but it also delayed a lot of time. The fans in the stands erupted in boos. They angrily accused Sevilla's players of stalling for time. The game continues. Football is still passing under the feet of Barca players. Sevilla remains stuck in the box. Manager Emery replaced a left midfielder for safety and played 5 at the back. After all, they are 2 goals ahead, and as long as they stabilize the scene, they can win the game. The game time passed minute by minute. The players of Sevilla played more and more relaxed. Barca's attack, completely out of rhythm. No one else was a threat at all except Messi. Barca's players are getting more and more anxious as they play. Iniesta stopped the ball and glanced at Rakitic. Xavi chose to go it alone. Directly dribble into the opponent's penalty area. Attracted the attention of the defenders on 3 sides on the opposite side. He saw the gap in the defensive line and stuck a straight foot. Football comes to the feet of the inner few. Shoot with 1 kick. Unfortunately, there are too many defenders in the Sevilla penalty area. The football is popped up. In the midst of chaos, it's Sevilla again. Banega got the ball. Another long pass that crossed the half. Gameiro starts directly in his own penalty area. No offside. Mascherano was in hot pursuit. Gameiro's confidence has swelled to the extreme. He is 170 tall and can play at Sevilla because of his speed. 1,000 miles to ride alone. There is an open space in front of Gameiro. He's fast. Face the Barca goalkeeper directly. Can he kill the game? The Sevilla striker dribbled into the top of the Barca penalty area. There was only Ter Stegen in front of him. If this goal is scored, so Barca's hopes will be even slimmer. Gameiro saw the Barca goalkeeper's position too far ahead. Played a flower job. Shoot straight in the eye. Pity. The arc of the ball is not enough. Barca goalkeeper Ter Stegen took 2 steps back, jumped high and took the ball off. Rescue in front of the door. Gameiro held his head in frustration. This is an opportunity to kill the game. Ter Stegen roared in anger. Send the ball straight. The referee suddenly blew a whistle. Another Sevilla player, cramped. The fire inside is very large. Immediately step forward and accuse the player of stalling for time. It also affected Barca's fast serve goal. Iniesta was also communicating with the referee. This is not a foul situation. There is no need to suspend the game. Referee Willy Crum was unmoved. The game came to the 70th minute. Barca still haven't scored. The fans of Sevilla have already begun singing the team song. Courtside, Emery tightened his tie with a spring breeze on his face, and his mind had begun to imagine how to be interviewed by media reporters after winning. Enrique was full of sorrow. Football has developed to this day, and in this level of competition, miracles are really rare and rare. Assistant coach Wensu, glancing at the Yenghua teenager on the bench, reminded, "Coach, you can consider letting Chutian play." Enrique shook his head, heartbroken. He didn't dare to take risks. Chutian's ability is there, but he has no experience in the competition. Cautious Enrique did not dare to gamble. Wensu said slowly, "Coach, time is running out. Change to other people. This score is also difficult to change. Can there be any other player on the bench who can play better than the main player on the field?" No. Enrique closed his eyes. In a short moment, he opened his eyes again. Let Chutian warm up. Episode 44. Yenghua Chu, warm up. Assistant coach Wensu, shouting at Chutian. Oh. Chutian nodded in response. The expression is calm. Tbilisi in August is still a little chilly. He took off his coat, ran to the sidelines, and start doing the warm-ups. He didn't think too deeply about the manager's intention to change himself. Maybe you want to let yourself feel the atmosphere of the competition in advance? Or do you think I can break the situation? Never mind. Don't want that much. Just play well. Sevilla's defensive system is not impregnable in Chutian's eyes. On the bench, he observed the flaws in the opposing back line several times. CTV5 Live Room. Duan Xian couldn't hide his excitement and shouted. Chutian warmed up. Tao Wei was also excited. Chutian began to warm up. It shows that he is likely to appear. But who are Barca going to replace? Is it to replace Rakitic? In an instant, the dense barrage also began to dominate the screen. Chutian is awesome. Finally it's here. I've been watching it for so long, because Chutian is on the field. Chutian, come on. Come on Barca, I must have to play before I warmed up, otherwise what? Do you warm up? I'm a Barca fan. Get started today. Also Chutian fans, there are also some black powder trolls in the barrage. What does warm up have to do with the field, chicken? Keep blowing, dash, I see that Chutian is thinking of going crazy, deliberately making the illusion that he wants to play. Bow eyeballs, Barca have lost. If you change people indiscriminately, it will become a tragedy. Does Enrique dare to go to heaven? Are you guys funny? Crazy, can the yen people get on this kind of event? You guys order faces. Don't dream all day long. 72nd minute of the game, there are Sevilla players cramping again. This time it was goalkeeper Beto. The referee blew the whistle again. The Barca players protested angrily. The other side always delayed the game like this. Courtside, Enrique has finally made an adjustment. Rakitic replaced. Replace Chutian. There was a small noise in the stands. Fans looked at the Yenwa teenager wearing the number 98 red and blue jersey. They felt strange. Why replace Rakitic? He played very well. Did Enrique give up the game? Replace it with a child of Yenwa who has never seen it before. I've seen the youth team of Yenwa juniors played well, and was the number 4 shirt when I was on the youth team. Harvey was also the number 4 shirt in the youth team as a child, and after coming to the first team, he changed the shirt 5 times before finally wearing the number 6. That means that the level of this young general of Yenwa should be good. Watch the game well, it's a normal alignment adjustment. On the pitch, Messi and Iniesta looked at Chutian, and then the two looked at each other, and the sadness on their faces dissipated a few points. Yenwa Junior General, maybe it can turn the corner. Mascherano's eyes lit up, and he smiled at Gamero, who kept talking garbage next to him. Boy, be polite to your seniors. If you are in the league of the Pampas Eagles, I have beaten you to the ground to find teeth. Of course, next, you will soon shut up. Sevilla's striker is dismissive. He grew up on the field since he was a child, and it has become a habit to talk trash. Why? With an Oriental teenager? Ha ha ha, your manager is conceding defeat, right? Rakitic looked at the LED number plate held up by the assistant referee, a look of anger. He didn't understand why the head coach wanted a Yenwa boy to replace himself. My own state and physical strength are very good. There is no need to go down. In the end, he did not dare to disobey the coach's personnel adjustment. Time is running out for Barca. He scrambled to run off the field. Chutian politely held out his palms. Rakitic's expression was cold, and he directly ignored Chutian and walked to the bench. He believes that Chutian's normal gesture of substitution is an insult to himself. I'm the main force. How can a Yenwa boy who has just arrived replace me? I was a Europa League winner and was named to the best team in Europe. I really don't understand what Inshui is thinking. Rakitic suppressed his anger and looked displeased. The two passed each other like this. Chutian glanced at Rakitic. Don't think about it. Assistant coach Wensui put his arm on Chutian's shoulder and spoke very quickly. I don't have any tactics or points to pay attention to tell you. You can take out your normal level. Just like the group confrontation training match. Don't be nervous. Kick out your normal style level. Teammates will naturally cooperate with you. Come on, Yenwa boy. Yenwa teenager nodded seriously. Subsequently, step onto the turf of the European Super Cup. At the same time, the system's tone sounded again. System task trigger. First team debut. Mission, help your team win. Quest reward, Harvey God level, get rid of skills. Chutian winced slightly. Barca are now 2-0 behind. The regular time of the game is less than 18 minutes. The difficulty factor of this task is slightly higher. High difficulty, accompanied by high returns. The quest rewards are very attractive. Harvey God level, get rid of tricks. Episode 45, CTV5 Live Room. Duan Xian was very excited, and his voice even trembled slightly. Chutian made history. He became the first Yenwa to reach the European Super Cup. Tao Wei also couldn't contain his excitement, no matter how he behaves. You can reach this level of competition. It is already the pride of the Yen people. Groove. Awesome. Chu Tianjin is on the field. This is Barcelona. This is not a pheasant race. It's the European Super Cup. A Yenwa person. On the stage of this level, Barcelona, come on. Chutian, come on. There's still a little time. If you can score a goal, a lifetime of fans. Am I watching a science fiction movie? Yen Warren will play in this kind of game. Yenwa national football team, don't believe in rumors, don't spread rumors. What about black powder trolls? Where did the black powder trolls go? Pride of Yenwa people. Chutian is enough for the sports media of Yenwa to blow for a year. Sevilla coach Emery watched Chutian play, a smile on his face. As a professional manager, Emery only sleeps 4 hours a day and has already studied Barca's big list. He had also studied Chutian's information. A Yenwa teenager who played well in the youth team, that's all. Is this guy Enrique brain sick? In such a final, send a young lad who does not have any experience in the big game, or have you conceded defeat? Let a guy feel the atmosphere? Barca have never given up so lightly as a manager. Barca, what will win me? Emery smoothed her hairline. He is a man who pays great attention to his appearance. He is trying to suppress the crazy joy in his heart. He was already thinking about the way to celebrate after the game. Would it be unsightly if he took off his tie and blazer directly? The smile on his face was even stronger. Sevilla led by 2 goals. There is not much game time left. Barca see no hope of any goal. Emery has seen the European Super Cup winner and is waving at him. The spell of 20 winless Barcelona in 5 years is about to be broken. All over the world, Barca fans watching the match are also talking about it. They didn't know Chutian. At this time, I also expressed doubts about Barca's substitution adjustment. Replace Rakitic with this kid of the hot country? What did Enrique think? Rafinha on the bench is obviously much more reliable than this little guy. I checked Chutian's information and had assists in the youth team. Can the youth team play the same game as this level? Not a grade. Too risky. Will there be a miracle happening? Tournament resumed. Barca's right to a free kick at the back. Chutian's position is left midfielder. Busquets kicked off and passed the ball to Chutian. Sevilla striker Gamero immediately became like a mad dog. Rushed towards Chutian. Start spraying garbage. A young boy from Yenwa. If he is frightened by me, he will not be able to hold the ball steadily, right? Gamero laughed. In La Liga, he used this trick for many young players who made their debut, which caused frequent mistakes and repeated attempts. Face the mad dog. Chutian's expression was calm. There is no need to observe at all. There was no stoppage. One foot touches the ball. The action is flowing and flowing, very elegant and freehand. Push the ball across to Iniesta on the right side. Immediately after that, the walking position began. Gamero was shocked. What ghost? Damn it. How did this Yenwa teenager have such a sophisticated appearance of competition experience? As well as his running position and passing, Sevilla can't find a person who can compare with him. He did not give up and continued to press along the line of football. Ball speed, strength, line, that familiar feeling, it's back, Iniesta said darkly in surprise, then subconsciously and directly handed the ball out again. Chutian appeared exactly in a familiar position. Again non-stop ball, one kick knocks back, passed back to Busquets, tacit understanding. The midfield tacit understanding of Habibu seems to be back in an instant. Gamero is like a dog, running back and forth between the 3 of them, was walked, helpless, powerless. The Sevilla backcourt players again pretending to be cramping. The referee ignored it, signaled the game to continue. Barca's midfield pass. It's exactly like a team has changed. When Rakitic was on the floor, although he worked hard, he was extremely uncoordinated with his teammates. How to play, how awkward. As soon as Chutian played, after a few passes, the whole situation slowly became clear, as if he had been fighting with his teammates for many years, and the tacit understanding was full, flowing clouds. It's like playing a beautiful classical music. Barca players were shocked by confidence. The Sevilla players, their expressions also became seriously nervous. Can't let up. Chutian's 1-foot touch. Tacit communication with Iniesta, Busquets. It evokes memories of their massacre by Xavi. Xavi is the same way. First of all, it is constantly passed, and then it slowly drives the midfielders' offensive and defensive rhythm change, and finally it will tear through their backline. As long as there is a flaw, you'll lose the ball. Episode 46. CTV5 Live Room. Duan Xian murmured, this scene seems to have been similar, so familiar. Pass control. Barca's passes back. Tao Wei's tone was also full of joy. Hey. I really didn't expect Chutian so quickly integrated into the Barca first team. You see, his passing skills and running level is really very high, and Iniesta, Bus is really tacit understanding. Yenwa fans are also excited. Bullet hell swipe screen. This familiar script. This is the Yenwa version of Xavi. I've seen this script. As soon as Chutian plays, Barca can win. Is Chutian really the level of Yenwa International? Oh, Yenwa Internationals forget it. Chutian's passing and running awareness, is they comparable? Handsome. It's seamless. What about the black powder trolls who say that Chutian can play and eat xiang? Open your mouth, I pull on the spot, dash, and those who say Chutian is a water dispenser. Get out. Whether Barca win or lose, from today onwards, I am a Chutian fan. On the pitch, Chutian began to tandem his teammates. Every pass he made was extremely accurate. Barca's passing advantage is gradually being amplified. The technical delicacy of the players is highlighted. Sevilla's players are tightly guarded. They have repeatedly tried to replicate the storm of counterattacks from the first half, but Chutian was not rakitic. The ball passes quickly between the red and blue jerseys. The line is also very scientific and reasonable. The Sevilla players didn't have half a chance. Counter-robbery, interception, blocking, to no avail. The whole of Barcelona, it's like changing a team. Like a gloomy cloud with torrential rain and thunder, it hit the city guarded by the town of Seville. God's vision. Sevilla's players, like stars, are twinkling. Messi's single movement involved 3 opposing defenders. Suya is winding in the middle. Iniesta was stuck on the high line, waiting for the opportunity. The stars move as MSN moves. Iniesta began to plug forward. Alba and Alves start swapping places. Sevilla's backline, loose. An instant. A passing line lit up in Chutian's field of vision. Chutian received a short pass from Busquets on his back. Turn around and kick straight to the long pass. The soccer ball ticked off an eerie trajectory in midair, over the heads of the Sevilla defenders. A look of horror instantly appeared on their faces. Flickering in front of the inner less, excited to see the football appear in front of him. It's a beautiful pass. The Brazilian genius is running, gently lifting his foot. Handsomely stopped the football. Chutian's pass. The force is very comfortable. Neymar then took the ball into the penalty area. Great opportunity. The audience held their breath. This is Barca's best chance to shoot at the moment. The narrator's voice couldn't help but tremble. Let's see if Iniesta can grasp this wonderful opportunity. In front of the penalty area, Sevilla's players rushed inwards and shoveled on their knees. Goalkeeper Beto held out his hands. They're too slow. Ni less than 1 kick to shoot. And in MSN, the archery is also superb. The power of the shot. Angle. Ball speed. Perfect. The ball crossed the defender's leg, drilled through goalkeeper Beto's crotch and slammed into the goal. Drilled into the nest. 1:2. Sensational. Barca pulled a goal back. The game came to the 76th minute. Chutian assists less. Sevilla goalkeeper Beto, kicking heavily into the goal post, subconsciously wanted to blame the defender teammates, for a moment, but did not know how to blame, complaining that the opposite Yengue boy passed the ball too strongly. Striker Gamero also closed his mouth and stopped spewing trash at Marco. He felt strange, with a bad premonition. Barca still has a chance. There are 14 minutes left in the regular time of the game, and the winner is undecided. CTV5's live broadcast room. Duanshian celebrated frantically. Chutian got the first assist in the European Super Cup. This is unprecedented. This is unique. Chutian. Our Yengue Jr. At this level of competition, this perfect long pass was delivered. Taoué also exclaimed, receiving the ball on his back, direct long pass, this vision, this consciousness, this pass assist, all this is too perfect. This is the young general of our Yen country. Chutian. The barrage followed with madness. Chutian's awesome. Chutian is too handsome. How did this long biography come out? I saw this script, and in the end Seville must have come home crying. There is still hope for Barca. Thank you Chutian. Barcelona, come on. Chutian, come on. Equalize. Go overtake again. Stands. It presents a sea of reddish blue. Barca fans were frantically shouting, Forca Barca, Vamos Barca. They held up red-blue banners, and the red and blue letter brand spelled the word Viva Barca. We are Barcelona. We never give up. Episode 47. After scoring, Iniesta rushed to Chutian madly for the first time, hugged tightly. Chutian. Pass it on beautifully. Messi and Suarez also ran over. The Barca teammates hugged together excitedly. This goal brings back lost morale. Chutian, your vision is so amazing that you can even observe that position. Your pass is so comfortable. Landing is good and precise. Chutian smiled and did not respond. He immediately ran to the net nest, pick up the football, run back to the center lap. Barca are still 1 goal behind and it's time to hurry. Iniesta and Messi looked at Chutian with admiring glances. Courtside, the Sevilla manager panicked. 2 strands of Emery's hair fluttered messily in front of her forehead. On Chutian's body, he seemed to see a familiar figure. The Yengue youngster, wearing the number 98 red and blue shirt, and the Barca number 6 who has beaten him countless times. The figures of the two seem to be beginning to overlap. Damn, how could that be? There will be players in the world who are so much like Harvey. No. Emery, you can't panic, your team is still in the lead. Time is running out, Barca can't equalize, Barca can't come back. The manager of Sevilla was so nervous that he began to talk to himself. The game reopens. Sevilla ball. Barn blessed the ball and tried to push forward, soon cut off by Mascherano. Little Mago stabilized the scene, handed the ball to Chutian. The passing level of the little Margot is equally delicate and outstanding. For so many years since his debut, he has actually been playing in the back. After joining Barca, Enrique saw his defensive interception tackle ability and transformed him into a central defender. A center-back who is only 174 in height can be named to the world's best team. His technical and defensive ability is self-evident. Chutian received football, began the midfield passing performance with Busquets and Iniesta. Barcelona, who are behind, play like they are ahead of the curve. Take one's time, steady progress. The soccer ball is like a shooting star, carrying a wonderful trail and shuttling back and forth on the turf. Chutian's expression looked very calm and he was not in a hurry. The original impatience of the Barca players has gradually subsided. The Sevilla players, their faces are getting more and more solemn. Suddenly, Messi a retracement. After Chutian handed the ball to Messi, he immediately went to the right side to make up for the position. Messi dribbled the ball and easily wiped over the Sevilla back that was pressing forward. Meicho Wang, the world's unparalleled top cadence. He dribbled the ball straight into the opponent's penalty area. Sevilla's three defenders, like a wall across Messi face. Someone stretched out their feet, someone sliding shovel, someone to help. Messi began to change direction and accelerate. At this moment, Sevilla once again felt the horror of the king of plum balls. The defense has pulled away. Messi observed in an instant, there was no very good shooting angle. He pushed the ball sideways. Keep pulling the defense. The football will soon reach Chutian's feet. God perspective. The Mayor King pulled most of the Sevilla defenders. 5 perfect passing lines lit up in Chutian's field of vision, interspersed with Alba in place. Unguarded Alves. Iniesta at the top of the arc of the big penalty area, just 15 yards straight ahead of goal. There is also Suarez, which has already started on the left. Just a moment. Chutian's mind had already deduced the approximate result. Inner instep, horizontal transmission, football belt drafting crumbs, scroll quickly and stickily, crossed 2 defensive players. The cross-pass line is 5 yards from the goal. Goalkeeper Beto didn't dare to attack. Suarez is in the most appropriate position. Barca number 9, no stoppage. Sushin, this ball is so comfortable. Direct one-kick blast. Football catapults into the net. 2:2. Barca equalized. Suarez's goal. Chutian assisted the second time. The audience was shocked. In the stands, Barca fans shouted wildly. The applause was also thunderous. For a time, the entire stadium mountain roared with a tsunami. Suarez overwhelmed Chutian for the first time. Little one. The transmission is fantastic. I love you to death. Excitedly, Sushin resisted the urge to bite Chutian. Other Barca players pounced. They rubbed Chutian's black hair excitedly. Yen was young general led Barca to blow the horn of anti-super. Scores for both teams. Back to the same running line. Just a few minutes, 2 assists. Just helped Barca equalize. It's unbelievable. CTV5 live room. Duan Xian was so happy that he almost went crazy. Unbelievable. Unprecedented. Chutian actually delivered a second assist to help Barca equalize. Tao Wei smiled. I have to say that Chutian's consciousness and vision, as well as the level of passing, is really the world's top level. Sevilla is not a weak team, can come up with such an outstanding performance in this level of competition. It is really unprecedented. Digging, am I watching a movie? Is this really a live broadcast of the European Super Cup? As if in a dream, we Yenhua people have also produced such a genius. Chutian Yo Bai. 666, followed by episode 48, courtside. Enrique also hugged assistant coach Winsu, club staff, and substitutes. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect to pass a simple substitution. Chutian replaced Rakitic. Barca came back to life. Equalized. The regular time is just the last few minutes left. There is still hope to lead. It won't necessarily allow Sevilla to drag their time into extra time. The Barca coaching team, which has experienced hundreds of battles, naturally sees the situation of the scene, and the balance of victory is tilting towards Barca. Seville panicked. From leading by 2 goals to being equalized, it was as if he had descended from heaven to earth. They don't dare to pretend to be cramping to delay the game. The referee has stopped eating this set. A strange atmosphere envelopes the entire team. They couldn't imagine that a Yenhua boy could actually pass out 2 assists so unbelievably. MSN involved too many of their defensive numbers. Sevilla coach Emery also watched in disbelief as the team was equalized. There was a fear that spread throughout the body. He shouted at the players on the field, everyone back to defense, stare at Chutian. There's also extra time. As long as you can survive the extra time, you can enter the penalty shootout. Both teams have 2 substitutions. If Barca replaces the main player, the strength will inevitably be greatly reduced. Sevilla, which advocates utilitarian football, does not necessarily lose. In addition to passing and controlling the ball, Chutian's other attributes are not high. in addition to physical fitness. The other small stats on the panel are crushed by the stars. After Sevilla began to have someone keep an eye on him, the Yenwa teenager obviously felt that it was getting harder to pass the ball. Time passes minute by minute. Barca's midfield attack was launched and also stalled slightly. Match 89th minute. Iniesta stood up. He no longer touches the ball with one foot. Steady the ball to a halt. The momentary action of holding the ball attracted the Sevilla player who was closely watching Chutian. Chutian took the opportunity to run. Iniesta attracted firepower. Two Sevilla players start packing him. If it's someone else, everyone must have thought the ball was going to be lost. But he's Iniesta. He's the last offensive midfielder in the world. He is the world's strongest dribbling and breakthrough midfielder. Facing the onslaught of the Sevilla back, Iniesta did not hesitate. Right foot flicked the ball to the left, dodged the outstretched foot of the back. One more deduction. Directly flashed another Sevilla player. The next moment, Iniesta nudged the ball gently. Human ball in one. Unsolvable speed and ball feel. Directly past two people. Croquettes. Iniesta's fame stunt. The most perfect player in the world to complete this outstanding technique. Iniesta didn't stop. He took the ball 2 steps forward, didn't look up, pushed the ball straight into the distance. It just happened to be where Chutian was. The young man of Yenwa was closely guarded by another Sevilla player. God perspective. The perfect passing line, right under your own feet. Chutian was on his back, slammed his heels. The ball went through the crotch of the defender's pants, rolled into the restricted area. Messi, who was flicking straight into the middle of the road from the right, thought it was incredible. Chutian was able to pass the ball here. Meicho Wang does not stop the ball. A shot from the left foot. Football has burrowed into a dead corner. Lore. It's a killer. 3:2. Barca will take the lead. Messi scored. Chutian assists the hat-trick. Cheers from the audience. The sound of a landslide tsunami shook the entire stadium. The camera felt as if it were experiencing an earthquake at this moment. The camera shuddered wildly with the sound in the stands. The media commentary of the game, which was broadcast all over the world, was frantically shouting at this moment. Goal. Messi, Messi, Messi. Meanwhile, CTV5's live broadcast room exploded. Chutian in the European Super Cup. Assists hat-trick. Helped Barca turn the game around. Heart-stirring. Pieces of black pressed barrage covers the entire live room. Countless Yenwa fans are extremely excited at the moment. The black powder trolls were gone. Better than watching the most exciting movie. All of Barca's teammates were squeezed into the corner. Stacked high hits. Enrique, with a large number of staff and players on the bench, trotted all the way and joined the crowd. Chutian at the bottom of the position of the crowd. Miserable, but there was a smile on his face. That's the killer. That's the beauty of football. The assistant referee held up an LED sign for injury time. 3 minutes. Although the Sevilla players desperately pretended to be injured, delaying time. But in the second half of the game, the football was running under Chutian, and the game was extremely smooth, plus both sides only used a substitution. The players of Emery and Sevilla looked at the time of stoppage time and felt a little desperate. The spell of not beating Barcelona continues. I thought I was going to win, but I was shattered by a sudden Yenwa boy who broke the balance of victory. 3 minutes passed quickly under the smooth pass of Barca. Sevilla did not have the slightest chance to attack. Everybody was exclaiming, Chutian is the new soul of Barca. Episode 49. Injury time ends. The referee blew the final whistle. In these last 3 minutes, the miracle that Sevilla had been expecting did not happen. Chutian even almost completed the assist of the Big Four joys. Unfortunately, Alves kicked the ball into the upright. The whole game is over. Barca beat Sevilla 3:2 through 93 minutes of fighting. Chutian became a key figure in Barca's reversal. Helped Barca score, equalize, and then lead. This is already the 5th time in Barca's history to win the European Super Cup. This equalized AC Milan's record of winning the title. On the side of the pitch, organizers have begun to machine engrave the letters FC Barca on the silver European Super Cup. Barca are about to lift a new trophy. Barca substitutes, the coaching staff, the club staff, frantically rushed into the pitch. Celebrate this hard-won champion. Only Rakitic was expressionless and walked to the end. Sevilla coach Emery, with red eyes, walked directly into the players' tunnel. The Sevilla player sat on the ground in frustration. Moments later, the mood of the players on both sides calmed down slightly. Line up to shake hands with the referee team. The red-blue jersey and the pure white jersey began to talk as friendly as old friends. They are enemies on the pitch and are the most familiar opponents. Under the pitch, many of them play for the same national team. Banega took off his jersey, exposing explosive muscles. Look around the pitch. Found Chutian. Hey, guys, would you hate Banega's Sevilla number 10 shirt? Chutian smiled and shook his head. Jerseys were exchanged with Sevilla's key midfielders. Why doesn't the sweat of your yen people smell heavy enough? That way, I'll be mistaken for a match-fixing shirt by my girlfriends. Banega sniffed the red and blue jersey and looked disgusted. Chutian had no choice. In the memory of his past life, this Banega elder brother was known as Chinshi in football. Banega did not feel sorry for Chutian. If there is no Chutian, Sevilla won the match with 2 counterattacks orchestrated by Banega. Admission by the organizer staff. The award ceremony begins. The stadium's small stands are filled with UEFA leaders in suits and leather. At the front of the crowd, the silver Europa Super Cup trophy stands. The coaching staff took the lead, received the referee medal. Barca players stand in 2 rows on the pitch. Shake hands with the Sevilla players one by one. This is part of the ritual. Football is about winning or losing, but it's also about friendship. Sevilla's players lined up in frustration, received silver medals from leaders. At last, Enrique took the Barca players to the stands. Loud applause rang out from the audience. Not many fans left the stadium. They didn't shout anymore. Just quietly enjoy this moment of Barca winning the title. The medal is awarded. Barca players stood in front of the stands. Bang, 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 salute boom. Reddish-blue confetti fluttered like snowflakes in the stands. Captain Iniesta was surrounded by the crowd. He held Chutian's hand on the trophy. In the midst of a cheer, raise the trophy high. Congratulations to Barca. Won the 2015 UEFA Super Cup. Congratulations to Chutian, winner of the UEFA Super Cup final MVP. CTV5 did not end the live broadcast. The Yengwa fans did not change the stage. The live camera was transferred to a foreign reporter at the scene. Hello, Chutian, I am a reporter for Marca. Congratulations on winning the MVP of the whole game. It is your play that led Barca to equalize the counterattack and assist the hat-trick. Can you introduce yourself? An obese matador female reporter handed the microphone to Chutian. Chutian faced the camera. He was fluent in Spanish though, but in answering this question, he said Chinese. My name is Chutian, and I'm from Yengwa. As soon as this sentence came out, CTV5's live broadcast room is boiling again. Duan Xian said excitedly, this is a memorable moment for Yengwa football. Tao Wei also couldn't suppress his emotions, and said slowly, a young boy from a hot country, in a foreign country, joined the best club in the world, and completed an assist hat-trick in the European Super Cup. Chutian Bull, really give us Yan people face. Handsome. Answer foreign journalists' questions with Chinese. Chutian. From Yengwa. Assisted MSN in the European Super Cup. I'm going to the FA Weibo to announce the good news. +1. Meanwhile, Yengwa, the FA leader, pressed the remote control and turned off the live broadcast of the European Super Cup. He held up the expensive brandy on the table, thought about it, still angrily throwing the wine glass out. Yengwa short video platform. It's all a video of Chutian holding a cup with his Barca teammates. The phone rang suddenly. The leader of the Football Association pressed the access button with a black face. Lead. Things can't be held back. Before we decided to cooperate with our blockade of Chutian's media, now they all said that they wanted to report Chutian's news. Bang! The FA leader angrily dropped his phone on the ground, stomped on 2 feet. Episode 50. Mino Raiola, standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window of the VIP stand, overlooking the course. He looked at the eyes of the Yengwa teenager with great excitement and enthusiasm. Genius! What a genius! Do it alone. Bring up the rhythm of Barca's counterattack. Assist hat-trick. Ha ha ha, I must get him, quick. Prepare him the best contract. Plan advertising endorsements for him. The short fat man danced with excitement. The little assistant was still the first time to see the boss so ugly. He said weakly, Boss, Chutian hasn't signed a contract with us yet, so what are you going to do with these things? Mino Raiola's fat face sank and he said disapprovingly, you know, a fart. That's sincerity. I have not read less books in Yengwa in the past few days, and when dealing with Yengwa people, we must be frank with each other. First, show the sincerity of cooperation. It's cooperation. You know what? The little assistant nodded and tentatively asked. Chutian's professional sports transfer contract, our commission and remuneration are 30%. Mino Raiola shook her head, her fat face trembling, changed to 8%. The little assistant exclaimed, Boss. Balotelli's professional sports transfer contract, our commission remuneration is 15%. The short and fat man was dissatisfied. Tell you to change, you will change. What do you do with so much nonsense? Is Chutian's potential even greater than Balotelli? Isn't that? A talented genius who started at Barcelona, his future is immeasurable. Professional sports transfer contract? I don't like this. The little assistant nodded as if he understood. Then he asked, then the development of the right to the name of the portrait, our commission and remuneration are set at 70%. Mino Raiola shook her head frantically and roared angrily, you don't understand. You still don't understand. You don't understand it at all. The development of portrait name rights, we only take 5%. You know, Chutian has a Yengwa market with more than 1 billion consumers behind it. The little assistant defended, this is an unprecedented percentage. Boss, the short fat man tried to suppress the urge to beat up the assistant, and patiently said, other players, even if it is 100% of the portrait title commission, they can drive too little consumption. A European country, far less than a province in Yen country, What does this mean, do you understand? The little assistant suddenly realized. Also, we can't interfere with Chutian's transfer, and in the end, we can decide who to fill in Chutian's name. The final decision on advertising endorsement is also decided by Chutian himself. Players default on the conditions, just write 2 pieces that don't hurt or itch. Don't take Balotelli's template set. The short fat man was full of gunfire. The little assistant cried and mourned, "Boss, then how do we make money? If Chutian has not been willing to accept advertising endorsements, nor will he develop his portrait rights and name rights, is this not a blood loss? You know, maintaining the brand image of a star requires a lot of manpower and money." Mino Raiola said with a disdainful face, "There is a word in the East, rat eyes are shining, and it describes people like you. This cost, in front of the consumer market behind Yengua, is not worth mentioning at all. If Chutian can sign a contract with me, not only will I reap huge fortunes, but I will also make a mark in the history of football agents. Because he's from Yengua, hold on. You know? Hurry up and draw up the contract." The short fat man urged the little assistant, turned around and went back to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at Chutian, who slowly walked into the passage of the court. He murmured, "God bless your Mino. Don't let Mendes get them ahead of the curve." Chutian and his teammates returned to the locker room. Suarez and Roberto rhythmically slapped the leather-cushioned chair. Nacho and Alves danced. Messi stood to the side, smiling shyly. Iniesta and Busquets took out their mobile phones and videotaped with their wives and children. The old and strong Mascherano looked at the stamp collection that the staff had bought for him. Pique and Ter Stegen played chess. Everything was so harmonious. It's more than an hour away from the plane. The stars are in no hurry. Chutian looked at this scene and couldn't help but sigh. The hobbies of the Barca stars in the original news reports were all true. He suddenly remembered Harvey's hobby. Harvey's hobby is picking mushrooms. It's really a trip to the mountains on the outskirts to pick mushrooms. It's a real mushroom. His nickname is a homophony of the Spanish word for mushroom picker. The system's tone suddenly sounds ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. First team debut. Quest reward. Harvey God level. Get rid of. Rewards are being issued. Chutian instantly felt a slight numbness in the back of his head. The wonderful picture of Harvey getting rid of all kinds of balls comes to mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the victory of the UEFA Super Cup and awarding match points *5. The sum of the current draw points is 11. The host can open the lottery wheel at any time. Chutian was ecstatic. This time, the UEFA Super Cup. What a harvest.